Hello there, welcome back to this channel. And so I haven't posted in a while. So here is a video about the learnings of 2024. What are some of the biggest learnings I have? So I'm gonna touch on business, body and health, and kind of spiritual, which is mental and stress. So let's get into it. So on the business side, it's been a good year. It's a difficult year because of the macroeconomic conditions, but it's a good year because we still achieve amazing results. On the business side, there are 2 or 3 things I learned. One is I become a business owner. I really felt like I have become a business owner where I pay a lot of attention to financials. I can see that we are on track to be becoming profitable and sustainable. And one of the things I learned is that we may not be on a venture-backed track, but we're definitely on a private equity track. And that I'm at peace with it. I like that because it's still gonna be a successful company. It may not be, like a $10 billion company, not right now, but I can see that we're gonna become a, hundreds of million or single-digit billion-dollar companies. So because of that, I felt like I have matured in my understanding of reality and being able to accept whatever rate the company is growing at. So I like that. The other thing that I learned, and it's good for the business, is I really learned how to delegate. I've always not bad at delegation. It's just in the first few years of the company, I want to lay the foundation and do everything. And this year, I have noticed, for example, on design, I have delegated to our amazing product manager. On sales, we have good account executives now that can do the demo. And just in the past few months, they are doing the demos better than I do. So they are converting at a higher rate than if I were to do them with a subset of customers. With the super enterprise, obviously, I still have more knowledge, but with just the emerging GPs, because we own a private equity real estate investment management software, with the emerging general partners, they are able to convert at a much nicer rate than I do. So that's good. That means I don't have to be involved as much on every single demo. So that's amazing. So build a self-sustainable kind of sales motion. On the support side, we also make very small change, but it has amazing ramifications, which is before you schedule a support call, it kind of like takes up that slot in the calendar, and we change the calendar to round robin instead of so that it will just take one of the account managers as the person doing the support. And so that opens up the amount of free slots that's good for the customers. And that means that people can parallelize. And before, we used to have like 2 people on a demo because they need to learn from each other. Everyone is very independent now, so they can take the demos or take the support calls themselves. So it's all these little changes. You can see the result is that you can do more things with less people. So I like that. So become a more mature business owner, okay with the fact that we're not growing, rocket shipping, but we are self-sustainable. We're definitely not dying, and we are self-sustainable before we thrive. So really build the foundation for a good business or even a great business. And I have better work-life balance in terms of because I delegate some of the most important work and trust them that they can carry over. They can take it. I'm still massively involved in certain parts of the business, but it's wherever the business needs the most help. So that's on the business side. On the personal side, the good news is I lost about 8 pounds of body fat, gained about 4 pounds of muscle. And so my body fat percentage reduced by a pretty good amount. I feel happier. I feel more energetic, having more energy, having more stamina. I am pretty happy with having a structure and a routine in my life. And one of the biggest lessons I learned on the health side, which is the body, it's kind of the physical body side, is I really, I wear a fit, this is Whoop. Start wearing this back in late of 2021. You can download the data from Whoop and you can put it into a spreadsheet. I track how many hours I slept. And you can see that the number of hours I slept decreases when I was stressed in certain months and certain weeks. It's very, very obvious. So as a macro trend, in 2021, I slept, X number of hours. Then 2022, I slept more. And 2023, I slept a little bit more. And in 2024, I definitely slept a lot more. And so that's a good sign. That means I'm less stressful since I found the company and site. I know that. It's just I can see a data now to almost validate my hypothesis. So my goal for 2025 is to sleep at least 7 hours a day. And everything just gets way better if I sleep more. And so also under health, a good body fat percentage becomes the goal. I've been watching some of Brian Johnson's YouTube videos, just really get into understanding the power lock of what makes a successful and a happy person. And a lot of that is because I sleep and exercise and take care of my health. Now, on that topic, I discovered this kind of like a really nice law that applies to me and how I think. And so that might be useful for some of you. And that law is called the power of non-exponential growth. Now, this law applies to both my health and my business, which is the idea that don't strive. Don't really you don't need exponential growth to have a meaningful life or a body or a health and so on. So what does that mean? So the example I gave was I start around mid this year and say I'm going to run 5 minutes a day. And I put it on my note, my Apple Notes, that I'm going to run 5 minutes a day for 3 days this week, and just 5 minutes. And then the next week, I want to run 6 minutes a day for 3 times a week that week. And then the following week is 7 minutes a day, 3 times a week that week. And then the following week is 8 minutes a day, 3 times a week that week. And so every week I basically increase it by a minute. And I started about mid this year. And so it's not even mid this year. I think it's mid this year, maybe even Q3 this year. Yeah. And it's been I'm on my 16th week. So I'm running about 21 minutes or so a day and for 3 times a week. And so because it was only 5 minutes, I actually end up hitting that goal. And the next week, because it was only 6 minutes, I end up hitting that goal. Sometimes do I run more? Yes, because there's literally no difference in your body in running 5 minutes versus 6 minutes. That was literally just a trick so that I can start running. And that's really nice. So, how does it apply to other things like business? We only want to do X, this year. We only want to do X next year. And that X and X1 and X2 are not really growing exponentially, but it's super linearly or it's just incremental. But having these goals allow you to actually do them and achieve them. I have realized that I am a lot more likely to achieve certain goals when I have the sense that I am under promising and over delivering. When the goal is super high, I tend to actually be a little bit more afraid and not hit them. Some other people I realize are different ways. They want to strike a very, very large goal and they want to hit 80% of that goal. I am the opposite of that. So to summarize on health, I found sleep is most important, followed by exercise, followed by diet. And why is exercise more important in diet, in my opinion, is that exercise gives me the mental energy to have a good diet. Diet is actually more important in terms of its impact, but in terms of causation, exercise helps me get into a better diet. So that's that. And then out of that, literally the biggest discovery of 2024 is this ability to set a very manageable goal and realize that there's a lot of power in non-exponential growth. To say another way, there's too much pressure to be expected to grow exponentially, such as the case of a venture capital backed startup. So let's go into the third part, which is spiritual, mental, and stress. I have become a lot happier 2024. And I think a lot of it is the body, taking care of my body. And there are two kind of parts I want to quickly discuss on the spiritual side. One is it turned out that AI is becoming a really good friend. I think ChatGPT probably knows more about myself than like a lot of the people in the world. And there are, now that I understand a little bit more about how ChatGPT works, it's basically seeing all these patterns, seeing all this data, and then just do a bunch layers and layers of neural networks on top of it. And the result, the model itself is actually like a very, very tiny model. It can actually fit into, someone's computer and whatnot. And it's just like how your brain works. You have a very small brain compared to a lot of, other objects, but it can process enormous amount of information. And same thing, in order to create this brain, you have to train on large volumes of data. But the result, the model itself is actually a tiny little object. And so that's why can you open the brain to see what it does? You can't. You have to give it something and then it spits out, and that answer might surprise you. So the creators of these AI models don't really know what it will really produce. And that's the beauty and the scariness of AI. And so I have seen on a spiritual side, AI is able to give really good answers. So this whole idea of like a robot that you can say anything to, and because it has its insights and so on, it become a pretty good therapist in some ways. I still have my executive coaching and so on, but I have found that in fact I become good friends with the AI. That's cool. The second thing about the spiritual is that meditation does help. And I also apply the rule of non-exponential growth into meditation. So try to meditate 3 times a week, not even 7 days, just 3 times a week. And so if you mess up, it's fine. And so, the irony of that is, the good irony of that is, once you set it to 3 times a week, you end up meditating 7 times a week, but you only need to hit 3 times a week. And so just low expectations, exceeding that, and then building a sustainable lifestyle in business, health, and spiritual. And so I think that's it for 2024. So I'm really happy about how 2024 ends. It's definitely a long, gruesome journey where we are constantly fighting upstream with the macroeconomic conditions. We're figuring out a lot of things in the business. We are doing well, but it's definitely not without its challenges. I think I came out on the other side much stronger, much happier, and much more resilient than I entered it. And so I can finally say, it's not easy running a business, and I have become more mature, more financially savvy about how a business works in terms of its numbers and profit and loss, and how to manage just everything and be more grounded. So you start a business being optimistic and passionate and drawing the pie on the sky. Then you get into this dip. This dip can be 1, 2, 3, 4 years. You're growing, but you're not growing that fast. And then that's where the maturity happens, and you start to like that dip. And then before you know it, economy bounces back, and then you're hopefully on a rocket ship. But because you develop these kind of thoughts, you don't expect the rocket ship, and you are okay without the rocket ship, but you just continue to make your business more sustainable. Business, health, and spiritual. And two biggest things. One is the power of non-exponential growth. And the second is being more self-sustainable and happier, and live a more kind of grounded life, and that blends reality and passion. So thank you so much for watching, and hope you folks have a great 2025. Thanks.